Data Explorers video by Argilla. This time we're exploring this PersonaHub dataset. It has a paper as well named Scaling Synthetic Data Creation with 1 Billion Personas by Xin Chan and colleagues from the Tencent AI Lab. I thought it was interesting because it focuses on increasing variety in synthetic datasets. So when you create a synthetic dataset, you'll ask a large language model to respond to an instruction. And there's a limit to how much variation you can get from a single language model and a single instruction. And so one way of increasing the variety is to give the large language model a persona from which to respond. The paper proposes a method for creating personas based on world knowledge or public text from the web, where this public text is compressed into a persona. For example, a moving driver, John, a moving company driver, needs to deliver furniture to 3 locations, and the language model is asked to generate this instruction based on the specific persona and the specific topic. They use 2 main approaches: text to persona, where they use that web text, and then persona to persona, where they expand on those personas to add further variation. The dataset is available on the hub, and it's split up into various subsets. Each subset is a topic of the persona. You have 3 columns: the input persona, which is a description of that persona. For example, a data science professor who focuses on how algorithms can impact the fairness and accuracy of news. Synthesized text, which is the instruction, and it relates to that persona. And then a description, which is kind of like a keywords field. So I took this dataset from the hub, I loaded it, I connected to the Argilla server, and then I defined a feedback task. Here is my Argilla dataset settings definition. I defined fields, questions, and vectors. The fields that I added correspond to the dataset, and I wanted to add all 3 fields so that I could do some searching. I also added some vectors, added here some questions as well, a rating, a correction, and then feedback. What I ended up with is this dataset here in Argilla, and I want to find in this dataset are examples of tool use from a specific persona. And so tool uses are executed in this JSON format by the language model. For example, if I said, what's the temperature? I would want it to go to a weather API and get that temperature from that. And so in PersonaHub, there's a subsection of tool use. They're labeled in the description column. So I can use search, and I can just type in tool, and I can search specifically inside the description. And so then now what I see are all of the descriptions where tool appears. And now I want to filter those down for a specific type of persona. So let's just take this persona here. This is a medical device manufacturer who collaborates with a sales representative. I'm going to say find similar, and I'm going to select input persona vector because I want to use that field vector. And now I get another persona, and that's a business development executive focused on strategic partnerships. So that's picking up the business development part of that first persona. What do we have here? Now, okay, a manufacturing officer, dental surgeon, pick up the medical part. Let's say this is an example of the type of record that I want in the dataset that I'm creating. And so I can say, okay, this is a high quality response, or I could make corrections. So let's look through this function. So the function has a name, analyze dental. You might want to add more description to give the language model an easier task. You could move on. Okay, this is not something I want in my dataset, so I'm going to discard it. And you could keep moving through and creating a subsection that you could later use in model training or model evaluation. Okay, and so that's a kind of vast end-to-end example of how you'd go from finding a dataset and creating a subset. I'll share the notebook, and all the other resources are already available online. In fact, the Hugging Face space is public as well, so if you just wanted to look through this example, you could. And I'll share that in the description to the video.